Welcome back on the channel, everyone. Today we are going to explore CETUS, the leading DEX on Sui. I'm going to show you how you can earn passive income by depositing liquidity into their pools, aka yield farming. And since we are still early, although the token pretty much doubled in price for the past 3 months, there's still plenty of room to grow. And if you want to grow your bag of CETUS, this video will show you how, although there will be other tokens that you can earn as rewards while providing liquidity to specific liquidity pools here on these DEX. And although this is not financial advice, just know that this is going to be much safer plays than versus a meme coin. So the strategy here is super simple. Provide liquidity to tokens that have some utility, and in the case of CETUS, not only they have utility, but they are a crucial piece of the Sui ecosystem. So as Sui grows, more growth is also to be expected for the DEX when it comes to TVL and also in the value of its native token. So let's dive in. Jumping here really fast on DeFi Llama shows us that CETUS is the number 3 ranked protocol with a TVL of over $243 million. They only fall behind Suiland and Navi, both are two lending protocols, but when it comes to DEXs, CETUS is way above all the others. So there's a ton of liquidity already here. The next DEX that we see on the top 10 is Aftermath, then there's Kriya, Bluefin number 10, and then Turbos. They all have very interesting things that makes them unique DEXs, but CETUS leads the way. So let's take an overview of the data showcasing here for CETUS on DeFi Llama. They have an annualized fees of over $121 million, and annualized means that the fees generated by the swap transactions on CETUS will be taken into consideration for the past 30 days, and then that's going to be taken as a model for a month, and therefore multiplying it by 12 to annualize it. Then there's also revenue annualized once again, which is expected to be over $24 million. And the difference between fees and revenue is that revenue specifically points to the percentage of swaps that go to either treasury of the protocol or to token holders. And by token holders, this means the CETUS token holders, which is the native token for the DEX. Looking at the TVL in dollars, we're pretty much sitting at an all-time high. Let's switch up to Sui tokens to see if Sui has been increasing or if the TVL that we see sitting at an all-time high is mostly dependent on a price appreciation, which seems to be the case because the number of Sui, although it's going lower from roughly June, July up until now, we see that on the other end, the TVL in dollars actually went up from mostly July, August until today. Remember, Sui is a token that not long ago, in the middle of the summer, we're talking about July, August, it was a 40 cents token, and right now it's over $3.50, very close to 4, so it's pretty much 10x for the past months. So taking that information, it's pretty much understandable that even right now with 60 something, 64, a bit over than that, million Sui tokens locked into CETUS, which is significantly lower than what we saw in June when it had 130, 140, something along those lines. The TVL in number of Sui did in fact go down, but it didn't go down enough because the price appreciation of the token means that in dollars there's more TVL right now locked in it than it has been before. If we look at the fees, clearly on yellow ramping up, it's spiking for October, turning on volume, just the same thing, volume brings fees, that's just to be expected. So let's jump in and see the yield farming opportunities that CETUS brings to the table. Now let me walk you through a brief overview of the main functionalities that you can get from CETUS, and from there on we will take a look into what type of liquidity pools they have here and the best ones, the best pairs. I'll give you my thoughts on all of those, okay? So there's going to be 5 main tabs here. More gives you opportunity to buy crypto, also bridge your assets to Sui, both through the Sui bridge and the wormhole bridge. Then we have stats and docs Stats will give you an idea of the analytics of the platform, so it's going to be incredibly useful to find really great performing liquidity pools. Docs gives you access to the in-depth documentation for the platform, tokenomics, roadmap, all of that good stuff. With the Launchpad, you get to take part in token pre-sales at a very early stage. So you see here, there's not many and all of them have been completed. We got a couple of ones for Navi X, the native token of Navi. As you saw in the beginning, Navi is a leading protocol on Sui, and eventually, if you had been here early enough, you could have taken part into pre-sales of their native NavX token. You could have either bought NavX with Sui or xCETUS. So this drives also more utility to the native token here of the decentralized exchange xCETUS. Then also another option, it was Suya, and we also had a pre-sale for their native token. Even xCETUS has launched, and you see the price was back then 0.04 Sui. And if you take into consideration that Sui 3-4 months ago was worth 40 cents, this is extremely cheap. And now also consider that xCETUS right now is at around 40 cents per token. So basically this was a pre-sale that turned out really good. You can see that with current market conditions. All in all, the Launchpad is the place to go to take part in pre-sales, discover gems, and of course get the best prices. Now xCETUS is where you come if you want to stake your xCETUS tokens. When you do that, you get to earn some rewards from the revenue that the platform generates. Remember, in the beginning of the video, we made a distinction between the generated fees and the protocol revenue. So revenue is going to go for token holders, which are the people who not only hold xCETUS, but they do need to have it staked here. When they do that, you get xCETUS back. That's sort of the receipt of your deposit, and you can use it as also a governance tool for the platform in order to vote, etc. On their docs, you can see that xCETUS is the xCrowd version of the xCETUS token. So xCETUS xCrowd token. And although you can get it by directly converting or staking the xCETUS tokens, there's probably also going to be liquidity pools in which you can participate, provide liquidity, get some xCETUS also as a mining reward. Now there's going to be different ratios depending on how long you are locking the tokens in, but if you are getting xCETUS, of course you need to deposit xCETUS, and let's say you go with 1,000, you get 1,000 back because it's a 1-to-1 ratio. You can use this simply as also a calculator. You insert the numbers and it will show you what you will get back. So in the case of staking, you get it always on a 1-to-1 ratio. But when you go and click on redeem, you will see that there's a vesting duration here. There's predetermined values, 15 days, 30, 90, 180, but you can also use the slider to do sort of a manual custom vesting duration that you might want to set. But in fact, let's say we did deposit 1,000 xCETUS in order to get 1,000 also from the xCrowd version xCETUS. So you can see here with the full vesting duration of 6 months, 180 days, you get your 1,000 back. So your initial that you deposit gets back in totality. Now, if instead we go with the vesting duration, which is below 180, you see for the case of 90 days, you get a redeem ratio of 72.72%. And that's because you didn't use the full vesting duration. So this, of course, means to incentivize people to stake and lock for the long term. And the shorter vesting duration you will choose, also you will see the redeem ratio will be lowest. 30 days gives you 54% redeem ratio, and 15 days, 2 weeks gives you 50% redeem ratio. So this is definitely for people who are bullish on the platform long term. And also this is a way for passive income, because this gets you rewards just for nothing. Basically, you just need to stake your tokens. The platform operates, they generate revenue, they distribute that revenue to token holders. The estimated APR is stated here. The formula for calculating it is also shared, and the rewards distribution, it shows the timer, but this occurs on a weekly basis. So every week you come here, you collect your share of the pie, and that's also one of the ways you can earn with the Cetus platform, other than providing liquidity, which this is definitely a much more passive way, especially when considering to provide liquidity to pools in which you are setting your own ranges. So different options overall for different strategies. It's up to you. Cetus gives you a multitude of ways to earn. When it comes to earning with Cetus, you can click on the Earn tab and you'll see there's three options: pools, farms, and vaults. Pools are the meat and bones of the whole protocol, and that's where you want to go to provide liquidity to specific liquidity pairs. We'll touch on that in a second. When it comes to farms and vaults, there's going to be just a couple differences. If you look here under farms, there will be stated APR for your earnings, and they will be paid fully in SUI. APR shows you how much percent a day you will be earning for these pairs. But in order for you to use this, you will need to stake your positions, so you will need to be already a liquidity provider for the pools that you see here. Then you can come and stake your LP tokens. That's what you get when you deposit into a liquidity pool, an LP tokens, which is a receipt that shows how much percentage of the pool share you own. So for higher yields, if you are already providing liquidity to any of these three pools, maybe there will be more when you are watching the video, but right now these are the only three pools available. And if you want to farm SUI, this is the place to go after providing liquidity to those same pools. Now moving on to vaults. What is the difference between vaults and farms? As you can see, in vaults you will find the same pools we just took a look at under the farm section. But in here it's showing you APY and not APR. That's because vaults are completely automated. So whatever yield you're getting, and in this case the rewards show here, and they're not only SUI, which was the case back in farms, but in here you get to earn rewards in both tokens of the pair. The three main features of the vaults are going to be auto compounding, auto matching, and auto rebalancing. Auto compounding puts your fees that you are getting from the liquidity pools back into the vault, and whatever new fees it generates, it's going to be always used to grow your position. With auto matching means that you can deposit any token into the vault, and the vault itself will take care of all the process in order to turn that token into the two main ones for the vault itself. So everything works for you in the back end. You just need to deposit and they take care of everything else to deploy your position. Then there's auto rebalancing. Although right now it might not make all that much sense because all the vaults being portrayed are having SUI and a liquid staking derivative that is going to be pegged to the same price as SUI. But in the future they might have other vaults, probably they will already have as you are watching this video, and those might need some auto rebalance to keep things in range. And that's because the vaults are operating with concentrated liquidity pools, so there's going to be a needed upper and lower range to be determined, in between which you will be generating fees. Although the vault takes care of everything automatically, and considering all of this, also a substantial difference between vaults and farms is that on vaults everything is working for you to compound your position and grow it in the long run. That's also again why they are using APY here, which is the expected growth percentage for your position after one whole year of having it compounding for you automatically. And if you notice back here on farms, there's the claim button available, so you can come and take your SUI rewards whenever you want, and from there on you do as you please. You use it in other DeFi protocols, you use it here on CETUS and other products. You might also want to sell that SUI and take profits. It's up to you. And that also shows that vaults are, after all, more appropriate for people who are planning to hold the position long term and seeing it grow, while farms might be more appropriated for people who are wanting to have some constant cash flow. So that's also a very important point to take into consideration before choosing if you want to go with vaults or farms. Now looking at liquidity pools, this is where the main action of the protocol is happening. You get to see a reading of the overall trading volume, and you can set it to be daily, weekly, or monthly. Then you can browse through all the pools showcased here to see if there's something that interests you. I mention this often on my videos, but one of the main things you should go for and check before committing to a liquidity pool is the correlations matrix on DeFi Llama that will show you how protected a specific pair will have you against impermanent loss. Then you'll have here mining rewards for specific pools. These are going to be a bonus on top of your incentives that are constantly being generated as people use the pool, which means that whenever people trade, for example, SUI for USDC or vice versa, they will generate fees. In the case of this pool, the fee tier that everyone pays for using it is 0.25%. The pickaxe icon here shows that the pool is being incentivized, and the mining rewards that we already mentioned are stated here. So in the case of this, if you are providing liquidity to this pool, you are going to get rewarded. On top of the fees, again, this is going to be a really great option because it gives you a bonus, and the APR will differ depending on the day. So this is for the past 24 hours, really high APR for this specific pair. And if you're bullish about SUI blockchain, this is probably a pair that you want to have exposure to, because having SUI paired with a stablecoin will constantly give you rewards. As people take profits from SUI to USDC, they will use the pool, and as people buy in and come to the SUI ecosystem, highly likely they will use, for example, USDC to buy SUI, and that will overall provide a lot of usage to this pool. So the liquidity here is really deep, over 24 million, almost 25 million, and the volume is almost the double of the liquidity. So this is a pool which is very high performing, and on top of that we have mining rewards. This should be enough to offset any risk of impermanent loss. If you want to avoid that at all costs, there's always going to be stable coin pairs, which is the case here for these couple ones, USDT with the Wormhole USDC and Wormhole USDC with USDC. The fee tier here is very low, and that's because these are stable pairs. For that reason, I think it's very much worth it to highlight the first one because it's being incentivized. But looking at some other interesting pairs here, Dapp and SUI also being incentivized, and I think Dapp right now is really undervalued. It's a very significant piece in the SUI ecosystem, so might be a good idea for you to do some research. Don't jump into things just because I'm highlighting them. I think it's worth for you to do some research about it and see if it's something you want to have exposure to. And let me also highlight here, you see the pair xASUI with SUI. It has the farm and the vaults icon, so this gives you already an intuitive understanding that if you want to be part of the farms, you can deposit your liquidity here and then take your LP tokens and deposit them on the farms. Alternatively, you can also go and take part in the vaults, which are fully automated. You can also sort things out by other metrics. For example, right now it's by volume, but we can go with APR. It will show the highest APR on top. If you are a beginner to this is not necessarily something you want to do and chase high yields. You want to hold something mid to long term optimally when providing liquidity, in my opinion. So for example, you can come here and see some really high APRs for something that has, for example, Spam SUI or SUIMAN USDC. These involve meme coins. So this will probably be something to play short term versus other options that might involve a stablecoin, SUI, maybe even CETUS, the native token of the DEX. That's probably going to be something that long term will be a much safer play. For example, this pair here, NS paired with SUI, these are both significant tokens in the SUI ecosystem, and the APR right now is almost 800%. Also paid rewards, so very interesting pool. Or for example, if you have been holding Ethereum and you have also USDC, you can use this pool to grow your SUI bag without having exposure to SUI. So there's going to be plenty of options here. But if you want a more in-depth look, you should go and click the More tab, go onto Stats, because that will give you the analytics for the platform. You can also filter stuff here by incentives. For example, if you want incentives in mining, you turn off the tickers on those. And as you can see, it's only showing now pools that have some sort of mining incentives, whatever the incentive may be. And again, a bonus on top of the fees, that's always welcome. If you want to have the pools here portrayed in a different way, you can click the menu button here and it will reorder things with a dashboard that does remind me of Orca on Solana. But if you want to order this list by the best performing pools when it comes to fees being generated, you need to go on More and then click on Stats. Although this will mainly show you the same information we just took a look at, in here you can order things by, for example, fees, and that will show you what pool has been generating the most fees for the past 24 hours. If you look at this information often, you'll have an understanding of which are over time the best performing pools on this DEX. And like I said before in the video, this specific pair leads the way. I'm not surprised. This is going to be a consistent top 5, if not even top 3 over time on this DEX. So you can see that the first 4 are mainly tokens which are essential for the blockchain to operate. We're talking about the native SUI, a stablecoin, Dapp, xCETUS, and also then we have a meme coin, Hippo. Although those are riskier plays, they do tend to have a lot of volume, but also a lot of volatility. So have that in mind if you want to take the risk and deposit into those pools. Okay guys, this is what I had for you about xCETUS. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, I'll get back to you. If you want to know more about yield farming, check the description. I'll leave there links, for example, to the Underdog Investor Group. This is a community dedicated to yield farmers, help you improve your yield farming game, exchange ideas with other like-minded people, get also to learn on a one-on-one system. They also have that offer, or even free courses. But overall, you'll get to learn a lot from them. And if you use my link, I am affiliated with them, but it will get you 20% off on your first month. Now, if you enjoy this type of content, if you are new to crypto, if you want to know more, also make sure you like, subscribe. This is what we do. We explore crypto almost every other day, breaking down of these protocols, showing you how you can buy, invest, also how you can off-ramp to the real world, and basically how to take full ownership of your money, of your digital assets. If that sounds good, you know what to do. Thank you for watching. Take care. I'll see you on the next one.